All right, so now we are going to write the equation of the trigonometric graph for Trig Graph Discovery Level 1. So let me screenshot this first. We are going to turn this, all of that stuff that we just learned, we're going to turn it into an equation. So let me write out on the side, I guess, the general equation. A sine, so that's a variable, A, sine bx plus c. I think actually this one's D. There's a C later on. We'll get to the C. So here are our three things that we are entering into Delta Math. Let me fix the attendance really fast. Okay, so for the A in the front, this is where you're going to put your amplitude. Okay? So write down this part of the equation. A in the front is where you put your amplitude. And then B, for now, we're not going to have to worry too much about B today. I took a look at the example problems that came up. I don't think you're going to have to deal with B right now. Let me just double check. Actually, we might. Okay, so this one is 2 pi over period. Okay, and then the last one, the D is the midline. Okay, so let's write that down first. Give you guys some time. Okay, hopefully that was enough time to write it down. So now we're going to take a look at how to make the solid line graph into the dotted line graph. So we want to make the equation of the dotted line graph, okay? So to make the equation of the dotted line graph, let's first look for our amplitude. I think I did amplitude in, no, let's first look for our midline. We're gonna do the midline of our dotted graph. So over on the dotted graph, I see that the midline is right here. So this is my midline. I'm also going to, no, I'll just write it in that color. So the midline's the one that goes at the end, okay? Let me fix attendance again. Okay, so this is our midline, and it is at the height of 2. So this is the equation y equals 2. And we're going to put our midline over here as a positive 2, because the midline is the thing that goes at the end, according to this equation that we wrote. Okay, so the midline goes at the end. Since our midline was at the height of 2, we are putting that at the end of our equation. Now let's do our amplitude. I think I did amplitude in yellow, so I'm going to stick with that. Okay, amplitude is the distance from the midline to the top or the distance from the midline to the bottom. And amplitude goes in the front of our equation. Okay, and so let's count the distance. It is 1, 2, 1, 2. The distance from the midline to the top and bottom is also 2. So in this case, we're going to put a 2 over here. Our amplitude is 2. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, let's do period then. Period's actually this one. It doesn't go directly into the equation, but we're using the period to get the b value. So I'm going to find the period now. So the easiest way is to do top to top. So I just choose these two top points. And we're going to solve for the distance between them, which is over here. I'm just kind of drawing it out, I mean. Okay, so remember we do right minus left. So on the right side, we got 5 pi over 2. On the left, we got pi over 2. And so, let me fix the attendance again. Okay, so we do 5 pi over 2 minus pi over 2. And then since they both have the same denominator, it's easier to subtract them. We keep it as over 2. Just subtract the top straight away. 5 pi minus pi is 4 pi. And then since we have 4 pi over 2, this simplifies just until 2 pi. So our period is 2 pi. Any questions on the amplitude, the midline, and the period so far? Okay, so remember that we are not putting the period into the equation. We are putting the letter b, the variable b, into the equation. And b is equal to 2 pi over the period. So let's solve for our b value. B is equal to 2 pi over, and we just determined that our period was 2 pi. So 2 pi divided by 2 pi is just 1. Because I think today we're not going to have to worry about a weird b value. It just so happens to be that our b value should be 1 for today, if I took a look correctly at enough examples. So in this case, our period is 2 pi, so our b value is 1, and so 1 goes into the equation. Do you guys have any questions now? Okay. So we had a 2, we had a 1, we had a 2, and then we press try, and you can watch. You're like, oh wait, I got it right, yay. And then if you click try and it doesn't land directly on it, then you know that you got it wrong. So since we know we got it right, you can submit it, and that's it. I guess we could do one more just because why not do 2 examples? I think it can help some people. And if you don't need this example, you're probably already working anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so we're going to write the equation of this graph. So we want to find the equation of our dotted line. Let's start with our midline. So midline's over here. And we see that it is at the y value of 1. So we're going to put 1 over here in our midline. I don't know why that appeared. Let's get rid of that. Okay. So 1 is our midline. Remember that this is your midline. Okay. After the midline, let's do our amplitude. Remember that's the distance from the midline to the top or the midline to the bottom. And when we count that, we get that it is 2. So we put 2 over here to represent our amplitude. And last but not least, we have our b value, which remember is not the period, but it's related. It's 2 pi over period. Okay. And so let's find our period. Our period, you can take any 2 top values. So I'm just going to choose these 2 just because, and we're going to subtract them to find the distance. So we have a 4 pi and a 2 pi, right minus left equals our period. So then 4 pi minus 2 pi is equal to 2 pi. So our period is 2 pi. Let's calculate that out. 2 pi over 2 pi equals 1. So our b value in this equation is also 1. So like I said, if I remember correctly, the b values today should be 1 because I think all of our periods are 2 pi for today. Do you guys have any questions? Alrighty, let's enter it in. So we have 2, 1, 1, and don't forget to press try. Let's see what happens. And would you look at that? We are correct. Submit. And that's it. Okay,